Good evening, dear friends. Good evening, friends, one and all. Let me say welcome, welcome. Sorry we missed you this morning. We had a little bit of a business matter that showed up. It's a long story. Nobody cares, but we are back. And before I begin, please let me ask you, dear friends, let me ask you to let me know whether you are hearing me loud and clear in the old proverbial 5 by 5 rendition. Can you please let me know? I don't want to do anything. I don't want to get my thoughts going and then have somebody say sound. You're very good, and you deserve the best. You deserve the best. So, do you hear me, ladies and gentlemen? Do you hear me? Am I coming through? This is all I want to know. That's it. This is all I want to know as I ask you in this particular day, because we have a lot to talk about. Oh my Lord, we have a lot to talk about. More things than you could possibly ever even imagine. More than you could ever imagine. Let me ask you, very good. Are we hearing, are we hearing you? Are you hearing me? I'm still waiting. I'm not getting any response from you. I do not want to do anything um, regarding this. Do you hear me, friends? Is there anybody? There we go, 5 by 5. Thank you. I'm wondering, I'm thinking, "Wait, am I on? Am I on?" That's it. Just wanna make sure. There was a delay in your reaction. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. That's all that matters, dear friend. Well, let me just tell you something. We are ready for Freddie, dear friends, and we are going to proceed with a show tonight that will absolutely make you think to yourself, "My God, how does he do it? How does he provide us with so much information? And how does he do this with such a veritable, almost just kind of like a nonchalance, dare I say?" But before we do that, let me ask you to make sure that you are subscribed to Lionel Nation. It's very important because sometimes people will tell me, lo and behold, for reasons I don't know, they will say, "Hey, guess what? I've been unsubscribed." Well, that's not a good thing. So get ready. We're going to be talking about stuff, and it's going to make you feel good tonight, my friend. It's going to make you feel good. I promise. I promise you from the bottom of my heart. But first, before we begin, this important, incredible information from this important, incredible sponsor of ours. Have you ever wondered what happened to the legendary Chuck Norris? I recently saw a video he made, and he's in his 80s, and he still looks tremendous. He's working out, staying active. What's even more shocking is that he says he's stronger, he can work out longer, and even has plenty of energy left over for his grandkids. And he did this by making just one change. And he says he still feels like he's in his 50s. His wife even started doing this one thing also, and she's never felt better. She says she feels 10 years younger. She says her body looks leaner and she has energy all day. Chuck made a special video that explains everything. And make sure you watch it by going to chuckdefense.com/Lionel or by clicking on the link below in this video in the description section. It will change the way you think about your health. Once again, that's chuckdefense.com/Lionel and click the link in the description section to watch the video now. You won't believe how simple it is. Just a reminder, the legendary Chuck Norris is 84 years old, and yet today has more energy than you can imagine. He discovered he could create dramatic changes to his health simply focusing on three things that sabotage our body as we age. So watch this method by clicking the link in the description box below, chuckdefense.com/Lionel. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't even know where to start, but I'm going to start at the beginning. Today was, well, we got so much story. Yeah, we have Trump news. We have Trump is appearing tonight, right now as we speak, at the Nassau Coliseum. Long Island was pretty much shut down today by virtue of this love, this absolute cacophony of love towards this man. It's beyond anything most people can grasp. Special hello to Curveball Z, a new YouTube member. Thank you so much for that, my friends. This is he's going to win. They are freaking out. They don't know what to say. So we're going to talk about that. And the real story, I'm thinking to myself right now, which is so beautiful. There are people, starting off the first paragraph, the first chapter of tonight's show, there are people that I despise wholeheartedly for reasons I can't really explain to you. I can't explain it, but I'll do my best. Number one, people who don't really earn their talent, people who are phonies, which is about 90% of everybody in the entertainment business. But every now and then somebody comes along and they're not only phonies, but they're exploitative. They're horrible. I have been waiting for the Diddy Combs thing to explode because it will bring down, dear friends, a veritable cacophony, an end, a who's who and a what's what. I despise him. Despise him. Oprah. Oprah makes my skin crawl, and I don't know why exactly. The phoniness, how she is the chosen one. I don't know anything about her. Remember her schools and the girls. Who is she? What has she done? It was a picture first standing next to Tim Cook from Apple. Tim Cook, of course, I think you know what he's done. Apple, yes, yes. Captain of Industry, yes, yes, yes. Also standing with Steven Spielberg. Say which one about Spielberg? He's made some of the greatest movies of our lifetime. Tom Hanks, creepy, but a great actor. Oprah, what? What has she done? She gave some good interviews, double crossed the royal family when she let that Meghan thing loose with Harry. I despise her. The whole bit with Gail, I don't understand why she wants everybody to come clean. This poor guy. Anyway, look. There's a group of people who represent a very powerful lot, and they're in hip hop, and they are thugs and criminals and racketeers and human traffickers and drug addicts and drug pushers, and they have been working with impunity for years. And there are women in particular, women who come out of nowhere, women who say, I have a dream, and he exploits that dream. And it's been done before. He's not the first one. I understand that. He's not the first one to do this. There's no doubt about that. I'm not suggesting that. But that doesn't make it okay. That doesn't make it okay because, well, other people have done it. Because the stories are horrible. The stories are, I've heard stories about people, big names in Hollywood, that'll make your hair curl, if you will. I despise these people. And I make no bones about it. And what's happening right now is he was denied bail. He was denied bail. And there was one, I mean, I have to ask myself, what do you think he is going to do that he can't do now? What do you think he's going to do? When the commission case came out in 85 or 6, whatever it was, with Paul Castellano and Tony Ducks Corallo and Fat Tony Salerno and Carmine Persico and all this, most of them got bond, $2 million. They bonded out. The head of the Gambino crime family, you don't think he can do it? I'm not sure about being a flight risk, but it's not the flight risk part. Is can you do any damage? They got a bond. He doesn't get a bond. What do you think he's going to do? Now, there are ways that they could have kept him in. They could have said, "We're going to have you 20. You're going to be on a monitor. You're going to have to pay for 24 hours. It's got to be whatever it was. There's something they don't like him. Why do you think that is? They despise him. Who is next? Who's got the worried look? Nelson A says Trump will be on Gray Gut Bucket Show tonight. Wow. That's good. Thank you for that. So we will keep an eye on that one. My friends, I don't think I was watching this local coverage of it. I'm thinking they don't get it. They just think of him as like, well, no, he's the king maker. He's the linchpin to a group of of organized depravity that likes it. Shannon Sharpe must be told right now, if you even hint about this. Katt Williams, that's the guy who needs protection. He must be chomping at the bit. Do you know what people are saying? They're going to come out of the woodwork. Wait till you start hearing about this. Everybody and how they covered it up for years. Oh, this is going to blow the lid off. And when you get somebody like this punk who's never had anything against him adverse happen, he'll say, forget this. If you think I'm going away forever, oh no. If I do a day, everybody's going to do a day. And then, well, then it gets interesting. I mean, they got even Suge Knight. This is not about black music or hip hop or whatever. It's not about that. Now, my friends, moving to the next particular issue we have, I want to bring your attention to this. As you know, Kamala is going to lose. She is going to lose. And in the latest one, did you hear about her latest accent? Did you? By the way, it's not in Rikers. He's at the Metropolitan in Brooklyn. Not the MCC downtown. He's in Brooklyn. Ghislaine was there. I think that other fool, the other dude was there as well. You understand this? There's so much stuff. Very good, by the way. Our good friend Gloria Handley says, also lots of funky stuff just broke in Arizona by Adrian Fontes, Secretary of State's motor vehicles letting illegals get voter IDs with driver's licenses, the full voting rights. They're investigating it. Yes. Don't forget, Gloria, what Uncle Lenny's been talking about. Not so much that, but regular voter rolls for just having names that just have been on the rolls for 25 years. That you keep, that will just end up going to somebody's home to fill out, to mail in. Voter ballots regarding addresses that don't really exist. Do you see what I'm saying? I know you do. Okay, dear friends. First and foremost, Kamala. Now, don't you think she would get the impression? Don't you say, listen, Madam Vice President, you're going to lose this accent thing, right? What do you mean? You're going to lose this, right? You're not going to do this anymore, are you? Well, you're going to lose this. I mean, you can't, no. You don't understand. You can't do this. We're down to the wire and it's scary. We've got 47 days to go and you're still doing this. So guess what? She was appearing before. Did you hear this one? The Congressional Hispanic Caucus. Now, this one might be harder to detect. So I want you eagle-eared people, which I don't know if that makes any sense, listen carefully and see if you notice anything regarding the following, okay? Listen carefully, my eagle-eared friends. Again, do eagles have good hearing? In any event, listen carefully and we'll play it again, okay? Okay, listen.
I love you back.
Now that might have been, did you catch that one? That might have been listen again. Tell me if you hear it. Listen to this. Where she says, I love you back.
I love you back.
I love you back. Listen, yo te quiero, chica. Muchísimas gracias, señor. Oh my God, I love you back. Did you hear it? One more time.
I love you back.
This is not a woman who was going to be the president. She looks like she and acts like she's involved in a I don't know what the word is, just a sort of like a popularity contest. Yeah, that's it. A popularity contest. Why does she not understand it? George Keane knows. Keane says, thoughts about Teamsters not making endorsement? Red News, they say their internal polling says majority members Donald Trump Oh, Wisconsin and Michigan for DJT. It's funny you say that. I got that coming up, my friend. I got that, Mr. Lenz. Did you happen to catch this one as well? This was pretty interesting. I like this one. This was, what was this? What? I put this one up and oh, yes. And oh, my God. Did you see this? Did you see this one today? Ooh, Lordy. Did you catch this one? Let me get the back. Sometimes I look at these things and say, wait a minute. Did you see this? It goes like this. Where was her? Here we go. This is an unearthed footage from Kamala when she was a DA, vowing to forcibly enter homes to check how private gun owners are storing their firearms. You don't understand what we're hearing here. She says, just because you legally possess a gun in the sanctity of your locked home doesn't mean that we're not going to walk into that home and check to see if you're being responsible. She actually said this. Now, this is not, she didn't say this when she was 10 years old. She said this when she was the DA. Listen to this.
Responsible behaviors among everybody in the community, and just because you legally possess a gun in the sanctity of your locked home doesn't mean that we're not going to walk into that home and check to see if you're being responsible and safe in the way you conduct your affairs.
Have you heard from
unbelievable? Do you? I don't think. Tell me you heard that. Tell me you understand this. Tell me. I watched today, as far as I could, a piece of video with Mr. Piers Morgan. It was on my YouTube rotation. Piers Morgan, Candace Owens, the fellow from Blackwater, Eric, what's his name? And Junk Yogurt. And Junk Yogurt lost his mind. And it's a part of his shtick, and I think that they like it. I mean, he lost his mind. And one of the things he was talking about was how Donald Trump violates the Constitution. The die of Donald Trump does all this, and Donald Trump, this is a woman who is the Attorney General, a senator, and wants to be your president. And she says, well, just because you have your guns locked in doesn't mean we can't just walk into your home without a warrant. Do you hear what we're saying? Do you hear what we're saying? Now, ladies and gentlemen, I want to show you this one too. This is a great one. This is our good president in a bar in New York City where they take Bitcoin. Did you see this?
Donald Trump, he is in a bar, I believe, in downtown New York called the Pub Key in downtown Manhattan. Maybe we can play up some sound here, guys, and see if he says anything.
Good.
Well, watch this.
I'm just going to scan this QR code here with this phone if you want to take that from them. Scan that QR code right here. Take pictures. Right there. Right there. Just that one.
You know what this means?
What types of difficult?
Bitcoin for the president.
And fantastic, it went through.
Right. He doesn't look very excited.
I need to refresh the invoice.
Trump is not exactly riveted.
Oh, it did go through. All right, we're done.
Perfect.
The first transaction by a president on the Bitcoin protocol. History.
You know what that means? It's history. It's history of the making. Hello, everybody. I got to go back and see those people.
All right, let's go.
Come on.
Right,
Trump didn't know what's going on with that one, bless his heart. But this is the last thing in the world that members of the blob, of the elites, the permanent class, the last thing in the world they want is anybody even playing with. Remember, Bitcoin, no accountability, no hiding, no forfeiture, no nothing. Incredible. Brad Rung, ladies and gentlemen, says, I wanted to ask you yesterday, but got the answer today. But for 10 mil, would you represent him, and have you represented someone you despised? Of course. Sure, I would. I think, though, the only thing I would have a hard time doing, the only thing would be I would not ever cross-examine, be in the position of trying to discredit somebody that I believe was telling the truth. Now, if somebody's lying, if somebody claimed they were trafficked or they were hurt and it wasn't true, no problem. But I am not going to put somebody on the stand, and would never do that for a child, to try to outsmart or bamboozle or scare a child or do anything like that. But other than that, he deserves a day in court. And the question is going to be basically not putting on a defense. I don't think he has a defense. The question is, can they prove their case? That's the issue. Nelson says, funny if DJT wins New York epic. Oh, yes. If they wins New York, this could very well flip, my friends. Absolutely. Now, I think one of our dear friends, one of you great and wonderful, glorious and beauteous people, mentioned the Teamsters. Ah, yes. The Teamsters. Isn't this funny? This is one of those things that I think, wow. And I want you to see if you can, tell me the logic behind this one. See, the Teamsters will not endorse for president, rather, after their member polling gave Donald Trump an overwhelming lead over Kamala. The electronic member poll for Trump, 59.6%. I call that 60%. Harris, 34%. And the decision comes just 2 days after union leaders and members met privately with Kamala, who was apparently unsuccessful in winning some of them over. Why? Because she doesn't understand inherently and intuitively and absolutely what the particular issues are. And this is the first time in about 3 decades that the Teamsters will not endorse a candidate, a blow to the Democratic Party, as reported by the Washington Post. Quote, the Teamsters have a strong presence in battleground states and could play an outsized role in the election. Watch this video of President Sean O'Brien earlier this month. Listen, watch this, dear friends, and see for yourself. Hang on a minute. See for yourself what we are talking about, and ask yourself whether this is good or bad.
Whenever I get an opportunity to highlight the American worker, especially the Teamster worker, I'm going to take any and all venue. We asked both conventions
check the top one
at the same time, and the Republican National Convention immediately responded to us, didn't try and edit any of our messages, and I was hopeful that the Democrats would do the same, but they didn't. I'm not upset about it, but I can tell you this, my rank and file members who have been lifelong Democrats are not happy about it.
Yeah, I know there were some members of the union who spoke, but that's not the same as having the leader of the organization speak. Very quickly, did you choose to speak at the Republican convention, which is a pretty unusual move for a union leader, because you feel that Trump has been more pro-labor than past Republican nominees?
No, not at all. I spoke there because it was the ability to highlight how important we are. It was the ability to call out the people, the corporate elitists.
He's exciting, isn't he?
Who forget who built this country, the American workers.
Wow.
You know, people like to, have their own opinions on why
yes,
they were there. But I was
we like to have our
opinion.
opinion. That's correct.
It wasn't an endorsement for any and all Republicans. It was strictly a message about how important and how valuable we are, and to let the people know that fight us every day, that we're not going away.
I have no idea what that meant. Did you understand that? Did you get this? George Keene, by the way, says Jimmy Hoffa's ultimate revenge, a Donald J. Trump win. Jimmy, these are how anybody could possibly connect with that old trope about Democrats and labor is not paying attention. George Keene says when Donald J. Trump wins, his victory will come via truck. You got that? I think you understood what that one meant, didn't you? Don't you? Do you, friends, find it so hard to understand? It's like why are so many people so boring? Why are so many people so monumentally, so catastrophically, so unbelievably boring? I don't understand this. You're going to have to go out and you have to know a little bit about platforming, be able to speak, to explicate, to expatiate, to to let people know. Now, here's one for you, which is going to be, this is one of my favorites. I'm going to play this for you. This is the one that I love because I'm thinking to myself, these kids today have apparently, well, how do I say this? These kids today aren't sometimes the most interesting. Does that make any sense? Uh, let me show you this, and you tell me if you can. First, I want you to be honest with me. I'm going to play this for you, and the first person who can answer this question will win our respect. I have no prizes for you, no nothing whatsoever. But please, I ask you to watch this and tell me specifically who either of these people are in this riveting, absolutely this incredible endorsement, this absolute, this haymaker of an endorsement for Kamala. Ready?
Today is National Voter Registration Day, and we are asking you to please join us in going to iwillvote.com to
Okay, who is it? Anybody yet? Anybody?
check your status and vote early like we do.
We are voting for Kamala Harris and Tim Walz because...
Feel the excitement. Anybody yet? Know who this is? Close. Daniel says Billy. Billy, there we go. Billy who? Billy who?
They are fighting to protect our reproductive freedom, our planet, and our democracy.
Billie Eyelash, ladies and gentlemen, and her brother, Phineas O'Connell. Okay, I think Phineas O'Connell, and this is Billie Eilish. Now, this is a big deal. This was meant to really go out and really just set the tone. Just set the tone. This will push them over the top. I'm a 20-something-year-old. First of all, I know who she is, and I'm going to say, I really have no interest in this. Wait a minute. Did you see this? Somebody just sent me this. Oh, wow. Feel the excitement. Feel it, ladies and gentlemen. It's like, feel the thunder.
Today is National Voter Registration Day, and we are asking you to please join us in going to iwillvote.com to check your status and vote early like we do.
We are voting for Kamala Harris and Tim Walz because they are fighting to protect our reproductive freedom, our
reproductive freedom, that's a big deal because, as you know, with Donald Trump, you will have no reproductive freedom. You won't be able to reproduce. Oh, you mean termination of reproduction? Oh, you don't mean. You don't mean just that you. Oh, I see. You make it sound like he won't allow you to reproduce. In fact, if I know Donald Trump, like I think I do, he probably would, maybe not in your case, with your particular gene pool there, a little shallow end there, but notwithstanding your DNA melange, I think he would probably advocate reproduction. You mean abortion? Oh, I see. That would be reproductive cessation.
fighting to protect our reproductive freedom, our planet, and our democracy.
Her planet. We're trying to save the planet. You see, when you listen to Kamala Harris, Kamala, there's one thing I get the impression of. She knows about saving this planet. She does. She may not say anything about it. Oh, and the Constitution or democracy or something.
We can't let extremists control our lives, our freedoms, and our future.
We can't let freedom. We can't let extremists explore our lives. And that's why I speak like this. Because I'm barely able to. The CBDs and my anxiolytics. I have a flat affect and I have a weak handshake and I don't have any friends. And I talk like this because I am so cool. I'm not able to fluctuate my emotions or in any way involved is give you a sense of any type of emotional commitment to what I am saying. I'm really speaking this flat affect because right now I'm either stoned or under the influence of some type of psychotropic medication, or by virtue of some trauma, which I'd rather not get into, I am now rendered emotionally cobbled, or hobbled, I should say, or cobbled for that matter.
The only way to stop them and the dangerous Project 2025 agenda.
The Project 2025 window, I realize nobody's ever brought it up except these people. Nobody knows what it is. Nobody's, everybody, even for God's sake, Snopes says there is. Nobody has said. It doesn't matter. They gave me this to read, and I'm going to read it as flatline as possible.
Is to vote and elect Kamala Harris.
Vote like your life depends on it, because it does.
Go to iwillvote.com and
feel it
to vote early.
Love you guys.
Love you guys. I'm so cool. I do not in any way emit, emote, or indicate any passion whatsoever as to what I'm saying, because I'm Billie Eilish and I am so cool. I am so cool. I do not have to say anything. Idea. Could you set up a Lionel Nation Telegram channel so we can connect beyond the live shows? I feel that would give LN members a place to connect. I think it's a great idea. And we'll probably do that immediately. Thank you so much for that. Crypto Domini says, Dems that identify as licensed woman abortionists. I don't know what that means. But my friends, you do realize this, and let's get back down to business. They have nothing. Let's go through this, shall we? Number one, they are scared beyond anything you can imagine. Do you realize, dear friends, that for the longest time, she has been basically waiting as number two. And I don't mean this in the fecal nation, though perhaps maybe I do inadvertently. George Keane says, SCTV, shut at the stars. What a prescient skit with Mrs. Foulball visits P. Diddy at Mellonville Max Security Prison. Ah, yes. Thank you, Mrs. Foulball. The great John Candy and Andrea Martin. Now, I'm not saying this, friends, just because I'm happy to say it. I'm saying this because they have nothing. Now, tonight, as we speak, in a New York State, Long Island, they first of all, it is a pain in the arse to go there. I would, you couldn't get me there. Sorry. An hour on the Long Island Expressway. I told you, Saturday we went, and it was just a regular day, and it was a disaster. I'm going not anywhere near this. Do you hear what I'm saying? Nowhere near this ever. But they were there waiting a day or two before, waiting early. They shut down Hofstra University. They said, forget the kids were told, just don't go, because the response was absolutely incredible in this alleged blue state. And the reason why, ladies and gentlemen, the Bitcoin pit notwithstanding, but the reason why this is very simply this. They love him. They love him, and there is a feeling that this dingbat actually laughed about it. She actually laughed about it by suggesting during one of their forays that nobody was there, or that he had nobody, if you will, to watch him. This is how demented they are. Now let's talk about a couple of things here, which are very, very critical. I've got some brand new video. By the way, those of you who are Lionel Nation members, get these things first, okay? I want to talk to you about a couple of things, which is important. I want you always to go out and remember. Please keep an eye. Please, I know you don't understand it. I know you're not grasping what I'm saying. I know you're not. But with Diddy and that world comes the evisceration of a level of a cabal, the likes of which you can't describe. That's all I want to say to you. That's all I want you to understand. Now, what is important for you to understand, that I think what motivates many of us, dear friends, in this current election, is to understand a very, very few things. And it is So fascinating how there are people who are members of the blob, members of this permanent governmental, whatever it is, who would actually come out. Mitt Romney, Dick Cheney. Ladies and gentlemen, do you have any idea of what it means for Dick Cheney? I mean that sincerely. To actually endorse her. Do you understand this? People, these aren't just rhinos. These are people worried about the national security apparatus, this permanent, as I think Nick Rose called it, the blob. Kamala is the product of what we used to call in the old days, my friends, a machine. The Pendergast machine in Chicago, the Tammany Hall, Boss Tweed, Daily, patronage. We've always seen versions of that, but this is different. This is a intel state, police state, the intel state, the complete and total merger of the media with intel. You know that, right? I'm not telling you anything you don't know. You do know this. It's like nothing you've ever seen. Forget Mockingbird. This is it in spades, but not the way they necessarily thought about this. You've got the collapse of the Middle East. Now, while everybody's laughing about pagers going off and all the puns about beep, beep, and all that stuff, I don't think I have to tell you, and I find myself, with all due respect, I love you, but there are some subjects that I do not feel that this particular audience, and again, I say this with all due respect, particularly care about. One is Israel and the Middle East. I don't think it's a hot topic. I don't talk about things. I don't force things on people they don't like. I talk about them on my private channel and other as well. Ukraine and the chance that we are looking at the possibility of actual nuclear war, and wait till hypersonics fly across into Ukraine, and wow. And the possibility of that is incredible. And Victoria Nuland is actually sticking a thumb, goading Putin, and nobody seems to care. The third area, of course, is AI. Did you see this brand new move to prevent, to stop, to make it illegal to use artificial intelligence, memes, and the like in presidential and election devices? Do you understand what that is? Do you have any idea of what this means, of what is happening to the First Amendment? It's unbelievable. Uncontrolled, massive, not migration, illegal aliens swarming in. Do you know there are more? I heard somebody today. Forgive me if I'm wrong. Please do the research. 5% of Haiti was brought here. Some number that is like, what? Oh, yeah. Springfield, Ohio, ladies and gentlemen. This is green projects. This is what she's about. Green projects. These allegedly verdant projects that were to preserve the planet. Even though nobody's been able to explain any kind of indication or any connection with an anthropogenic causation model as to climate change or whatever. I think it's best called weather, but that's a different story. The Holocene maxima and hypsithermals notwithstanding, you have basically promoted, they have late-term abortion that Billie Eyelash wants to promote because that's a big deal. Late-term abortions, killing children, being able to terminate abortions. This is front. Who cares about the rest? As long as we can eliminate, without any kind of impediment whatsoever, without any form of interruption, if we can terminate, expunge, obliterate, ablate, excise human beings at certain forms of development, because after all, they're not human. I don't know what they are. LGBTQIA indoctrination. Think John Waters horror shows in schools with 6'4" divine doppelgangers, with this transgender ideology, tampons in bathrooms and the like. And what's interesting is that if Trump, when Trump is elected, he's going to be able to take office after having been involved in 4 years in prior office. Not only that, and remember one thing: the MAGA movement is not ending just because it didn't end in 2020. It's continuing. It's a movement, and there's going to be other people who are going to take up the mantle. But this is the person who's going to be even more effective this time. And he understands that he needs to put the entire system in peril, this kind of entrenched whatever. And this is the most important thing. This is important. So what has he done? Well, a couple of things he's done. And I think it's so important and so critical, dear friends, that I wish he would. I hope he would do this. Number one, our good friend George Keane says, per Scott R., do you think UKR loss is the end of NATO? Well, put it this way. NATO should be every major wise man from Kennan on down said that NATO should be scrapped immediately after the dissolution of the Soviet Union. It doesn't serve any purpose anymore. It doesn't serve any purpose. It does nothing but acts as an antagonist. It engages and perseverates and promotes the very problems it putatively tries to stop. George Keane says, Port-au-Prince, Ohio, très bien, get it? Brad Wrong, ladies and gentlemen, says, sometimes people do not realize what they have until they do not. And that is what I am seeing in the enthusiasm going on. People forget. Indeed, they do, my friend. Indeed, they do. Brad Wrong also says, no one is talking about history for him if he wins. True. Let's talk about Elon Musk. Thank God for Elon Musk. Thank God for Elon Musk. Thank God. This is a guy they say, well, you know, he's an industrialist. He's taken advantage, they say, of government, programs and subsidies and government funding and money. And it's funny because there's this thing that we never talk about. It's in California. It's called the homeless industrial complex. And did you know that the Democratic Party was basically picking out people that they liked and we're paying them $1 million per, not home, but per homeless unit to build housing for the homeless. You know how that goes, with absolutely just doing this to basically feather the nest, grease the palms of their lifelong or their long-term promoters and the like. And it's incredible. And yet here is Elon Musk. This is a guy who actually said, and this is the most incredible, took the cost of launching a space payload into orbit or near orbit or whatever brought the cost down by more than an order of incomprehensible cost, by an order of magnitude. I mean, this is it. You normally think of space as being the government. No, he did. He's going to be the first person involved in the commercialization of space, which we have talked about. This man is incredible. He's a giant. He's going to be known as one of the greatest industrialists of all time, next to Edison and Ford, and he's incredible. And thank God. And if he could somehow be involved in this government efficiency, he took over Twitter, and what did he do? He fired 80% of these bastards right off the bat. 80% said, you don't need you. We don't need you. And it's working better now than ever. The Twitter files, did you see him destroy Don Lemon? This is what an idiot Don Lemon is. Don Lemon, instead of saying, I'm going to kiss your ass, Mr. Musk. You don't understand this, right? You're my boss. I'm going to supplicate to the point where it's going to look embarrassing. Oh, great one. I am not, please, dear Mr. Yes, I'm going to do this. No, he didn't do this. He decides, I'm going to take him on. Well, you know where he is right now. Elon Musk in charge of Governmental Efficiency Commission. And then let's talk about another two. Bobby Kennedy Jr. I love this guy. Eccentric, a little weird, a little strange, and I love it. Don't really want him to be president, but I like what he stood for. I've always liked people who all during their lives, they said, I'm going to stand for something, and I don't care whether you like it or not. It doesn't mean anything to me. Whether you like it or not, I'm going to say what I want. And the first people he had to deal with were those rat bastards, those family, those equine toothed things, those, who was it? Rory? I forget who it was. She could eat, I forget who it was. She could eat an apple through a tennis racket. The most vile looking folks. I don't know what it is between them and the, well, I think I know about the royal family. But anyway, but they decided to come out en masse. He came out and he said, right off the bat, he says, you know, I think we should look into the efficacy or the safety involving the connection between autism and vaccines. Now, I'm no expert, obviously, but I think many of us are saying, you know, you go, Bobby, because we're kind of the same age. When we were kids, do you remember anybody ever having autism? Did you ever hear about that word? I remember reading a book about it when I was in high school for I think they called it dementia praecox, for dementia pre-cooked or early, because they didn't know what it was. They thought it was like some form of schizophrenia. They didn't know what it was. It was brand new. And then now, oh my God, what is going on here? George Keane says, what's the Lionel Dream DJT candidate? Oh, I'm talking about that. I think we're talking about that. Commission of Efficiency is going to be Trump. Bobby Kennedy, I think, is wonderful. I love his, he should be in charge of the FDA. He should be in charge of that and trying to do with healthcare, trying to break big pharma healthcare cartels. Deal also with the issue because he's a lawyer of biomedical tyranny and biomedical martial law. He should also talk about food safety. He should be talking everything. Everything. He is perfect. And he is incredible. And I appreciate him more than anything you can imagine. Next, Tulsi Gabbard. Tulsi Gabbard. Former Hawaiian. Fine, how are you? Former Hawaiian congressperson. I wasn't really nuts with her before. That doesn't mean anything. By the way, when I say that, listening to her now. Since Bobby Kennedy, she became increasingly delusioned with the Democratic Party. I think we all remember in October of 2022, she absolutely obliterated, eviscerated, just whooped Kamala. Didn't know what this is when we said, oh my God, she doesn't know. She never even fought back. There's this piece here I want to read you, which is very good. I've got this piece. This was an excerpt from a speech she made. This is from Tulsi Gabbard from Substack in October of 2022. I'm reading her Substack. And she writes as follows, which is very, very good. She writes this piece, which I like very much. She says, just a second, let me read it to her. She says, this is Tulsi. Tulsi says, I can no longer remain in today's Democratic Party that is now under the complete control of an elitist cabal of warmongers driven by cowardly wokeness who divide us by racializing every issue and stoke anti-white racism. Actually, work to undermine our God-given freedoms enshrined in our Constitution, are hostile to people of faith and spirituality, demonize the police and protect criminals at the expense of law-abiding Americans, believe in open borders, weaponize the national security state to go after political opponents, and above all, are dragging us ever closer to war. Absolutely. Those are her words. Those are her words. She's absolutely correct. When the facts change, you can change your mind. John Maynard Keynes said that, dear friend. John Maynard Keynes said, when the facts change, I changed my opinion. And I never left, if you will, the Democratic Party, whatever that means. I never left the Democratic Party. The Democratic Party left me. Politics left me. This whole left-right the nonsense left me. And I also want to tell you, there's some other people too who are very, very good. I think it's critical that we recognize this as well. And I think he's spot on with this. And it's one of the other reasons which I'm glad to see. And it shows a diversity. And forget what they've said before. But Nikki Haley, I think, is going to be very good. And I think Vivek Ramaswamy is going to be good as well. Indians, if you're into the whole Indian thing, I don't think that matters at all, but they may very well. And we need this. He also needs a Praetorian Guard. You know, the Praetorian Guard is the time of Caesar. He needs a Praetorian Guard. He needs ninjas. He needs people to sit. He needs a wise man. He needs a Jim Baker. And he needs to sit there and say, you're going to listen to me. And I don't want you to fire me if I say something that you don't like. And I want to talk to you, assuming I'm this person, and it will never be in public. It will never be, nobody has to know who I am, but I'm going to tell you the truth. And the very first thing we have to do is we have to run an intel operation to find out who among you can you trust. And the first thing you got to do is make sure all those people, all those rat bastards in Washington take off and move on. This is a sick world, and they are after you. And if you think it was bad before, you have no idea what they're going to do now, because these people like it. These people like it. Sam Whiskey says, the Blob wants to Julius Caesar 45. Oh, absolutely. It's, I don't know if he even realizes how obvious it is. Maybe he does. Maybe he's maintained a certain degree of kind of a detached part of this. Maybe, I don't know. It's hard. It's hard to say. It's hard to say. Maybe he doesn't want to think about it, but they want to take him out. Absolutely, they want to take him out. Hang on a minute. Our good friend. This is from WBM Fishman. Thank you so much. He needs a prophet of old, indeed. George Keane says, you'd want BK. You'd want BK has HH, Bobby Kennedy. It's an old, it's an odd, decentralized structure where FDA, CDC, et al. More run show. You want Bobby Kennedy picking those people and direct line to DJT. Indeed, I think so. Brad Runk says, I do not see another Republican president in our lifetime. Trumpism is too big to overcome for the next guy. Win or lose, he will be the last. No, I don't think so. No. I don't think so. First of all, they're not going to be. He starts off by saying, I'm not going to be President Trump. I'm not Donald Trump. That's not what you're going to get. I'm not running as the next Donald Trump. I'm running as the first me. This is what's critical. You don't say Donald Trump. That's number one. Period. Number two, there has to be tenets. There has to be bases. There has to be things. And there has to be this bringing in the new guard. This is what's the most important. I want to give a terrible example, and I only give this example for illustration, not for any kind of example of anything. Number one, in the old days, there were people who were the Republicans were not the Republicans that we are now. The hardliners, the tough guys, sometimes, dare I say, the racists, the bad people, believe it or not, were folks who, I'm sorry to say, but were the Democrats. Dixiecrats. These were the people that were involved in this. The Dixiecrats. And what happened was somebody very wise said, irrespective of what it is, there's a lot of people who are being just disenfranchised, disconnected from the Democratic Party. And they work with people like Strom Thurmond and others. These were not the nicest people, but politics is brutal. So they said, you're not going to get anywhere with the Democrats. Come to us. Later on, Ronald Reagan said, we want you to be a part of the Republicans. Moral majority, come with us. Second Amendment folks, come with us. The Grover Norquist tax and spend, come with us. Constitutionalists, come with us. Second Amendment people were big. Moral majority. Go through the list of all of these people that comprise this very, very large tent called the Republican Party. This is very critical. This is who these people were. And more importantly, it's very important to grasp. That's what they did. He's got to understand this. And you have to go out and talk to black folks. Black folks. And he's doing it. Our good friend Dom Luker on X or Twitter is showing this all the time. Look how he's going after. He's talking to the Bitcoin crews. He's trying to show that being for Trump is cool. George Keane says, second DJT administration will change the rules of R versus D of old. I hope so. I don't believe Donald Trump is a Republican. I don't think Donald Trump says, I'm going to go out and I'm going to do Republican things. I think he says, I'm going to go out there and I'm going to do the right thing. And if they happen to be Republican, fine. It doesn't really matter. That's exactly what I'm going to do. That's precisely what I'm going to do. Now, friends, I've been remiss. I'm running a little late on mentioning our dear friends. And I mean this because I've told you this and I believe in them 100%, my friend. First and foremost, I want you to understand that one of the most obvious things in the world, and to show you how sick these bastards are, they laugh at you. But it's the notion of emergency food. They call you a prepper. They laugh at you. They say you're a nut. You know what I say? The hell with them. Go to preparewithlionel.com. Preparewithlionel.com. And just see what they've got. There is a deal right now that is like nothing you've seen. A 4-week emergency food kit where you can save $50 when you order today. Go there now and just look, scan the item. You will not believe the supplies that are there for you. That simple. Then, my friend, there's this thing called MyPillow. MyPillow.com. MyPillow.com. Promo code Lionel, or call 800-645. Under 645. Where is that? Under 645. Oh, yes. 1-800-645-4965. Right now, if you use promo code Lionel, you will get a free gift aside from that, but also you will be able to luxuriate in a world you never thought even remotely possible. It's that simple. George Keane says, don't sleep on ordering from Mr. Pillow. It's exactly right. That's an excellent point and a fabulous pun. Also, dear friends, on October the 26th, I'll be at the Cutting Room in New York City. The Cutting Room. It will be like nothing you have ever seen. 10 days before the election. This is a chance for you to maintain your own sense of common sense and sanity and meet with like-minded folks who are there with you and me to talk about something which is so critical. And that's the future of this republic. It is that simple. Also, dear friends, you were so terrific the other night in supporting Mrs. L. I want to tell you again right now, she is doing some of the best work of anybody you can imagine. And she's tackling a subject which, frankly, a lot of people just don't want to talk about because it's icky or it's problematic. And she says, you know what? Good. We'll stop talking about children and child predation and human trafficking and digital safety when children are safe. Is that a deal? And that's what she says. All right, dear friends, I want to thank you. Thank you. Please watch what's going on and you're not going to read about Diddy or who's going on and other people, whether Jay-Z or Monique or Katt Williams, you're not going to hear about that because they don't want to talk about it. They don't want to talk about it the way we want to talk about it. Okay? This is one of the biggest stories there is, bar none. All right, my friends, I love you. I thank you for being with us. I thank you for being a part of this great thing. You have been just a delight. George Keene, I don't even know what to tell you, my friend. You are a madman, and I mean that in the best of senses. Brad Rung, thank you. Crypto Domini, WBM Fishman, Sam Whiskey, thank you. Mr. Rung, I think I said that to you. And let me see. And our new member, by the way, Nelson A, of course, and Curveball Z126, welcome as well. All right, dear friends, you crazy cats and mothers, I'll see you tomorrow at 8 a.m. We'll be back. Have a great and glorious day. Until then, remember these words: the monkey's dead, the show's over, sue ya.